What's up, guys? Welcome back to Duty's Daggers. So we got a bunch of knives on the table here. I had a suggestion from a viewer saying it would be cool to do have a video kind of updating you on some scale swaps that I've done and how I'm liking them now that the scales have been swapped. And I thought that was a good idea. So here we are. These are all knives that I have switched out the scales on. As you can see, most are Spyderco. I really like to change out the scales on my Spydercos. I don't have any stock scaled Spydercos except for my little native. And that's going to change soon, hopefully. I really want to get some fluted titanium scales for this. They're just really expensive, and I haven't done it yet. But I will. Nothing wrong with the G10 versions of these knives. I just really like the feeling of titanium or aluminum Spydercos. They just feel really good to me. So let's start right here. This is the Spyderco Shaman in 15V. This was the one that probably lived in G10, its stock G10 scales for the longest. In fact, most of the life of this knife in my possession was in its stock G10 scales. I really liked them, actually. They were contoured, they were brown, and they were very, very comfortable. And one of the reasons I didn't change them for a while is because it's hard to find really nicely contoured aftermarket scales. Especially in aluminum, there just isn't any options for titanium or aluminum that I know of that are contoured really nicely like the stock scales. But eventually I just decided to try some, and it turns out they're still very, very, very comfortable. Not as comfortable, but it's not like there's hot spots or anything. Still real comfy. So I decided to put these on. In fact, before these, I had some TerraTough scales on here, almost like a micarta sort of texture and look. And I liked those, but they were just getting really dirty. You know, my hands are dirty a lot at work, and they were just getting really dirty. So I picked these up at a blemish sale from AWT. They had a blemish sale. I got these very cheap. I think the blemish was the color. I believe, in fact, they were supposed to be this kind of color, and they just turned out lighter. I could be wrong on that, but they're a little like almost more pinkish than they should be. But that doesn't bother me. I think it looks pretty good, actually, and it feels very good. There's a difference in feeling when you go to flick it and close it, just all around manipulating the knife. There's a different feeling when it's aluminum or titanium. It's a little more kind of metallic-y sounding. All the clicks and clacks are not muffled. I just quite like it. I love the sound of metallic, clicky, clacky things. I love it. So these are from AWT. They're aluminum. You'll see quite a few other AWT scales out here. They just make really, really good aluminum scales. Really, really nice. Some are liner deletes. In fact, this one's kind of weird. It deleted this liner, but obviously not this one because you need the compression lock. But it deleted this side. On the native, oh, that already didn't have liners. And then, let's see. I think, yeah, on the Manix, it deleted both of them. You can see it's just that this piece here for the ball cage lock, and then the aluminum. No liners in between. So sometimes it kind of thins down the knife. And it makes it lighter, you know. You're going from micarta to aluminum, but you're also taking out the liners, so you're not gaining weight. I think it kind of evens out probably, or gets even lighter. Who knows? I haven't weighed them, but regardless, they feel really nice. They have kind of a micro milling texture on them, so they're a little grippy, and they look great. Let's just go through all the AWT ones first. The Manix 2 in 15V as well. AWT, same thing. Deleted the liners. I should talk about the clip too. These are from MXG. These are MXG clips, titanium bent clips, and I like them very, very much. They have different styles. Some people like Lynch clips better. I just happen to like MXG. Now on the Manix here, this ball cage is titanium, The one it comes with is a plastic. This is titanium, and there's a ceramic ball in here. It comes with a stainless steel ball, and the ceramic ball is just as strong, I think, and it's much smoother. Very, very smooth action. This is the smoothest Mannix I've ever tried. And I haven't tried a bunch, but I've tried like, I think 3 now. And this is definitely the smoothest. Nice detent. Very drop shot. Very minimal blade play, almost 0. The titanium ball cage here was from Flytanium. You got different colors on there. MXG clip, like I said. This is awesome. This is a great knife. You know, it feels better, I think, than the original scales. Yeah, a little less jimpy. On the Mannix, the liners actually had jimping on them too. So there was some like right in here. I think, yeah, there was some back here even. And I think back here. It was just all over. Which, you know, if you need that in your working scenario, then great. But I just don't need that much jimping. So, yeah, it was good. Good to put these on. Now, probably my favorite knife on the whole table here. Well, I like the Hindura a lot. This is my favorite Spyderco on the table, the Native 5. This knife, probably I noticed the most change when switching to aluminum scales. I loved this knife before, but once I put aluminum on here, it really just rocketed this knife into first place of all my Spydercos. I love this thing. It's a perfect EDC knife, you know? If you're familiar with the channel, you know that I talk about the Native 5 a lot. I'm sorry, but I just love it, man. I can't help it. This is one of the best EDC knives ever made, ever designed, in my opinion. To do everything blade shape, it literally does everything very well. Everything. Utility cutting, slicing, the things where you need belly, where you're rocking down on something. Amazing. This one's in Maximet, so I got a little bit of a patina going on here. I use this knife in the kitchen. I literally use it for everything. So yeah, you could tell there's a patina on there compared to, like, I don't know, some stainless. See that? Just getting a little darker. I think it looks so good, man. And these scales really just brought this knife to life even more. The sounds it makes are louder now. I just love it. I freaking love it. I can thumb flick it. And I think I can reverse flick it. Yeah. It's not as easy as these other compression lock knives, but you can do it. But really, I don't ever do that. I just roll it out because it feels good. You can close this one-handed really easily too, as long as you just get used to it. Yeah. AWT Native 5 scales are a must. And then the Para 3, also native, or also AWT scales, same texture, same everything. These are just black. Haven't had much experience with this knife. Never had one until recently. But I'm liking it, you know. It's right around the same size as the Native 5. I think I still like the Native 5 better. But it is, you know, it is a great knife. I see why it's so popular. It's a great small little package, you know. Feels like a bigger knife than it is, all that good stuff. So, there's all the AWT stuff. Never been disappointed with an AWT scale, ever. Now let's get into some of these titanium babies. So these two are both from Flytanium, these two sets of titanium scales. Now this set of titanium scales was on my original PM2, my very first one. You can see they're pretty scratched up. I've had these for a long, long time. But when I got this Warney PM2, whoopsie. When I got this Warney, that was bad. There we go. When I got this Warney PM2, I just loved it so much more than the regular PM2 that I took the scales off that one and put it on this. I have this brass lanyard plug too from Flytanium. I love it. It's just a little hint of color in a otherwise monochromatic knife, and I think it looks so good. This is just a cheap 3D printed backspacer I put in here. I don't usually have it in. In fact, I kind of don't want it in anymore. I popped it in the other day just to see if I liked it, and I don't. It goes around the lanyard tube and snaps in there, but yeah, I don't like it. MXG clip, again. These are just the flat, plain titanium scales. They have a different kind of patterns over there if they're in stock over at Flightanium, but I like these flat ones best, just the classic look. They're freaking great, man. I love them. They've worn so well over the years. They just look so good on this knife, and yeah, Flightanium, they're great. Now, my experience with Flightanium has not always been great. In fact, here's an example of that right here. This is the Wharncliffe Delica in Flightanium titanium scales and brass backspacer and MXG clip. Now, this is a fantastic looking knife. I love this. Just the fact there's no color except the brass, or copper, I mean. And the clip just goes absolutely perfectly with it. I love everything about this. But assembling it was a nightmare. So here's the rundown. I took the old scales off. I was putting these on. And when I was putting it back together, I screwed everything tightly down as tight as it would go. And there was still a big old gap all across here. These screws could not tighten down enough, far enough, to squeeze these two scales together tightly. After fiddling with it forever, I finally found that what was happening was, so these screws screw into these nuts. They're like these kind of a tube with threads on them that these thread into. Now, they were too long. So basically, the screw was bottoming out in this tube before it could have a chance to squeeze tightly enough. So what I had to end up doing was taking these four nuts, posts, whatever you want to call them, out to the garage and grinding them down shorter so that the screw could tighten enough to get a good squeeze. And that fixed the problem, but it was just a nightmare. And I reached out to Flightanium and said, hey, this is the problem. I even had a few people talk to me saying they had the same problem with theirs. So I knew it wasn't just me. I emailed Flightanium, said, hey, here's the problem. And the message I got back was frustrating. They said basically that they were aware of the situation, and thank you for your... There was something very kind of demeaning the way they said it. They were like, we greatly appreciate your initiative in trying to help us, or something like that. I forget how it was worded, but it was shitty. So I emailed them back saying, okay, well, if you're aware of it, why don't you say anything on the website? You need to tell people that these aren't fitting. And he said, well, we bought a Delica and we tried the scales out on it and it worked fine for us. So we haven't been able to replicate your problem. So we don't know how to fix it, how to do anything on our end to fix it. And I was like, well, so you know it's a problem, but you're saying it's not a problem. So what's going on here? And that's basically how it ended. So I don't know. I have talked to people since then that installed them just fine. And then more people who said they had the same problem as me. So what's happening? Either there's some variance in the scales, or there's some variance in Spyderco's hardware. I have a feeling it's probably Spyderco's hardware, that maybe they have some with longer tubes, some with shorter ones. Regardless, Flightanium should make you aware on the listing on their website that it could be an issue. So, or maybe sell tubes with the scales that they're sure will work. Whatever the case is, if you want these from Flightanium, beware of that. If you want to go ahead and buy them, I will walk you through how to grind these down. It's really actually easy once you know what the problem is. Just take them out, and you could, if you don't have a grinder or something, you can do it by hand. It'll take longer with the file, but you just sand them down maybe an 1/8 inch, and then you're good. Now, putting all that aside, I love these scales. They're freaking awesome. I love this backspacer. It just makes this knife feel so premium. The Delica Wharncliffe is awesome in K390. So amazingly slicey. Such a good knife. So, there you go. OG Goat is another scale manufacturer here in the U.S. And I got these scales for my 8015 from them. And I love them. They're made out of aluminum. They have different patterns, milling patterns that you can choose from. I forget what this one's called. I think it's called Shark Tooth. And they're great. Now, this 8015 came with this lock bar coated with a green PVD or whatever kind of coating. I wanted a monochrome look, so I actually sanded that off. You can still see kind of in this grooves here. I couldn't quite get all of it. So if you get these scales, this thing is still going to be green or maybe black. But you could sand yours too if you want to. The coating's kind of hard to get off. It took me a while, but I think it looks good now. And yeah, OG Goat, great selection. Never had a problem with them either. Sometimes they take a long time for your scales to arrive because it seems like not all the time, but sometimes they make the scales to order. So it's not like they have a stock ready to sell. You know, regardless, I haven't had any problems with their scales once I got them. They have a great selection. They're USA made. And it's not just aluminum. They've started doing some titanium options too. I don't have a code with them, but my good buddy Jason does. You can use code FUCKER over there for a discount. Let's talk about this guy. This is my little Victorinox Tinker. And I've had it for a long time. In fact, I forgot I had it. It was in a pouch in a backpack, and I found it again recently. And I had put these micarta scales on it, and I cannot remember where I got them. I know it was somewhere on Etsy, and that's really all I know. But I love them. I really, really like them. I've been carrying this more. Really on weekends when I don't have my Leatherman, I've been throwing this in my pocket. Because usually at work I have my Leatherman, and then I don't need this. But if I don't have my Leatherman, it's kind of good to have. You know, you got a can opener, cap lifter, nice blade, thin blade, slicey blade, smaller blade, screwdriver, and all. And that's kind of just the basic tools. And I think it looks way better with micarta. Also, you got the tweezers and the toothpick up in here. Classic Victorinox stuff. Yeah, so if you want some, just type in micarta Victorinox scales into Etsy or whatever. You'll find some. Yeah, looks really nice. Now the most expensive scales on the table are these Hinderer scales. This is my Hinderer XM18. And I spent a lot of money on this knife. I got it used originally. It was a Spanto blade shape with a G10 scale. And I can't remember how much I paid. It was like, I think $380 maybe. Close to $400. I slowly kind of upgraded it. You know, this is a Hinderer scale. If you look on the inside, it's got the horse's head on it and everything. This is a true Hinderer scale, and they're hard to get. Whenever they drop, they sell out. Luckily, I managed to get one of these on a drop. This is the textured titanium, the working finish. I also upgraded the hardware. These are not Hinderer hardware, though. I forget where they're from. But they're titanium, and I think they might be from MXG as well. I got this little filler tab. This is from Hinderer. It's called a Rick's Special Project filler tab. It's got the horse head and a horseshoe on it. It's pretty awesome. Really, really cool. And I got a regrind on it, done by BGM Knives. He turned that Spanto into a really nice hollow grind drop point. Made the swedge a little bigger, just totally ground out that Spanto. It was really thick behind the edge before, I think something like 30-something thousandths. Now it's down to like 11, 12 thousandths. Awesome, awesome, awesome. This is a really good knife, just heavy duty, and now it's a pretty good slicer too. But yeah, this was $200, this scale. Definitely the most I've spent on scales. But I wanted that full titanium hinderer, baby. And you know what you know what I mean? You gotta freaking pay to play. Is that the phrase? I don't know. You gotta pay if you want to play. Something like that. That's it, folks. Just an update on some scales. Now, bad experiences with scales. The only one I've really had was this one. And then I had a bad experience with rock scale designs as well. Before I bought these aluminum scales for the Mannix, I had bought some titanium ones from Rock Scale. When I got them in the mail, this button was very, very rattly. Anytime I picked up the knife, I could hear it rattling. Anytime I grabbed it, it would just rattle in there. It was so annoying. I emailed them. I said, I don't know what's going on. They said they were really no help at all. They said, okay, you want to send them back? And I said, well, I guess, yeah. I mean, if you're not going to help me try to figure it out, or, you know, are mine defective? Are they all like that? And they didn't say. They just said, all right, you want to send them back? So I did. So, you know, I got a refund and everything, but they were not helpful in letting me know any more information on whether they were supposed to be like that, if it was an error in the scale, whatever. So anyways, those are my only two negative interactions with scale manufacturers. For the most part, it's been great, especially with AWT and OG Goat. So there you go. There's your little update. Maybe next time this little guy will have titanium, hopefully. By the way, also, I think MXG and Lynch both have some wire clip replacement options. You can see this used to be a wire clip, but they have scales clips now that kind of form those two little bars that go in those slots. So if you have a wire clip on something and you want a bent titanium one, you should be able to do that. There you go, folks. I love you. Like the video. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.